number of issues. But before then, I want us to link up with my colleague Patrick Abimo joining us from the Intercontinental here in Nairobi. Remember that this week elected members of Parliament are having their induction. Amimo, thank you very much for joining us. So we'll talk about a range of issues, but I just want us to discuss day 2 of the induction. So far, how is it going?
Thank you. The second day of induction for members of the National Assembly in Nairobi here. Today they've simply divided their discussions into 4 thematic areas, and one of the areas that they'll be looking at will be the committee system. There is also another thematic area touching on the formulation of laws. The other area that the members will be getting some insights into has to do with the understanding the rules of procedure of the House, which is a very critical area for members of Parliament, and also lastly the legislative budget, the budgetary process. So members will be taken through these 4 thematic areas for these for the day, and they've been divided into 4 clusters. And just maybe joining me is a member for Tharaka, George Murugara, just to share with me a few of the things. Mheshimiwa, what was your feeling of the yesterday's induction process?
Thank you very much. Yesterday we started the induction and we had a very good day. We were taken through the parliamentary processes, which included decorum and etiquette, how a member of parliament is supposed to behave. We were also taken through other aspects of our duties as parliamentarians. Today, we are here in 4 groups. I am in the second group.
Just maybe to get to what struck you, what came out significantly when it came to the issue of decorum as a first lawmaker in the 12th Parliament?
We were inducted into knowing that as members of parliament, we must always behave honorably. And that's what struck me out. Everything you do, you must do it as a member of parliament, and you must do it with decorum, in a manner, in a character that is acceptable to the society.
And looking at it, before the 11th Parliament came to a close, members of Parliament were supposed now, for this 12th Parliament, they are supposed to sign their Code of Conduct. I don't know whether you've signed the Code of Conduct, and what also stands out in the Code of Conduct.
We signed the Code of Conduct, which again it deals with etiquette and decorum, that you would actually observe the law, you would behave in a manner that is acceptable, and that you conduct yourself as a leader, observing the requirements in Chapter 6 of our Constitution.
Out of the 4 thematic areas that have been set out for today's agenda, I've seen that you have a keen interest on the committee system. Why the committee system as your first priority?
Thank you very much. To be frank, we were just divided by the House administration into 4 groups, and I found myself in group number 2. The 4 thematic areas are very important to all of us, and we will be going through all of them. But I'm happy to start with the committee system, because the committee system, Parliament conducts its business majorly through committees. It is committees that sit down, they set the agenda of the House, they produce the first reports of the House, and then the full House deliberates and resolves on those matters. I'm keen, and possibly next week we will be getting into various committees. I hope I will be getting into a committee in which I can serve very well. As an advocate of the High Court, my first priority would be possibly the Justice and Administration Committee. If I do not get that one, possibly I'll go into the National Security, or I go into Budget, or whatever the Speaker, the Office of the Speaker, and the Clerk deems fit I should serve in. But today, I would want to know exactly how the committee system works.
Thank you. That is Mheshimiwa George Murugara from Tharaka Nithi, just trying to share with us some of the views they had during the induction process, and we've seen that he's very keen to join either the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee. Committees will be constituted maybe a fortnight from now, when various leadership of the House committees decide on what committees members will be joining. We have already the Committee on Selection in place, which will be putting different members in different committees. Ideally, ideally, members of parliament are allowed to serve in 3 committees during their tenure, and this particular area, maybe once they get to understand the systems, then it will be very, very good for them to go out and work out on this particular areas. And maybe just also getting to me, I want to talk to Betty, if you can, if I give me some time to talk to another women representative from Vihiga County, that is Beatrice Adagala, who is the Women County MP for Vihiga. Thank you, Mheshimiwa. Yesterday you had a meeting here with the induction. What struck you out during yesterday's workshop?
Thank you very much. We were taught so many things, like we were introduced how I can the etiquette of a parliamentarian, how we can conduct ourselves inside and outside of parliament, which to me, it has really opened my broader perspective.
Looking at it, out there you were initially just maybe a private citizen, but now as an elected member of parliament, a state officer, you now have to cede some of your private life to be public life. How do you intend to play around, to fit these 2 lifestyles, a private persona vis-a-vis a public persona?
Yeah, thank you very much. This is quite in order. I've been taught, and I know as a mother, I have to balance between my family, the electorate, and being a state officer. I've been given the enough teachings. I've been taught, and I'm still being taught on how I'll handle myself as a state officer and a family person.
Looking at it, today this is divided into 4 thematic areas. We have something to the committee system. There's another area that is looking into formulation of laws. We have also another committee that will be, another session that will be looking at understanding the rules of procedure, and also lastly, the legislating on budget. Why do you think that this is the committee system? Why do you think this committee system is so key in the parliamentary process?
This is very key because like the committees, we have to be put through to know how, maybe like if I'm put in the budget committee, I should know what's expected of me. If I'm put in a certain other committee, I have to know what is required of me as a member of that committee. So I feel this is very important to us, this session we are in now, that we want just to start in a short while. It is very important because it's through the committees that so many things will be done in the House.
Looking at it, I don't know maybe if you will share with us your professional background and what committees you are eyeing after maybe this particular session.
I'm a marketer by profession, and I have done very well in financial management and areas related to finance. Therefore, I have a strong finance background. So if I'm in park budget, I know I'll be able to perform my mandate so well. I'm very conversant in that area of finance.
Maybe apart from the Public Accounts Committee, which is an oversight committee, which other committee maybe do you have an interest in? Because at least as a member of parliament, you are allowed to at least have a membership in 3 committees.
Well, I'll maybe transport and communication and education, because those are key in my area, like in my county where I come from, very important. Yeah.
Thank you. So those are the views from Beatrice Adagala, who is the women MP for Vihiga County. And just also maybe if I can also have a word with the Nairobi women MP, Esther Passaris, just to share her sentiments of this. Mheshimiwa, yesterday you had your first induction day, and what really struck, what came out from yesterday's interactions with the membership of parliament?
Well, I mean, for me, we had a diverse panel. And what was very good was to see that you cannot delink the business sector from the political sector, from the professionals, So we come from different areas of society. And it was really nice that they blended it very well. We had ex-politicians, CSs, PSs, lawyers, businessmen. And it was fantastic. Everybody brought a different angle. But the end result of the whole thing yesterday was there's a lot of expectations from us, all right? And our country is lagging behind. Of course, Singapore always comes up. Malaysia always comes up. Success stories, there was one of the speakers talked about how Kenya showed Vietnam how to grow tea. and now they're about to overtake us if they've not already overtaken us. You know, we talked about sports, you know, the areas where we excel. Why aren't we coming up with the sports academy? You know, create jobs for our people. Yeah.
And maybe just looking at it, today's day 2, and we have at least 4 thematic areas. And these I've seen you've been pulled in this particular committee system. What do you think you'll be keen to know from the committee system now that, given that almost we are now operating under a different legislative process when it comes to Parliament, where now the ministers don't come to the House specifically to answer questions, but most of the work is done through the committees?
Well, the thing is, the committees are important. There's a structure that we found, and there's a structure that is working, and it's a structure that is strong. But again, you have to get a committee that you are interested in, and you have to also reflect the will of the people through that committee. For instance, for myself, I'm looking at the Committee for Water because I'm tired of women, not just in Nairobi, but all over the country, having issues with water, and not just water, clean water. You've got a lot of typhoid. We've got members of parliament here who've got typhoid at the moment. So we have to deal with water and waterborne diseases and the availability and affordability of water.
Which other committee?
I'm also looking at environment because for me, much as we're banning plastic bags, we've got a lot of litter all over our country, forget county. We need to find a way to get out that litter, and what do we do with it? How do we use that positively to empower our youth in terms of jobs and to clean up our estates? Yeah.
Thank you. That is Esther Passaris, the Nairobi Women County MP, just sharing with us some of her views on this particular workshop or the induction process that is ongoing. Today, it's 4 thematic areas. From the Intercontinental, I'm Patrick Amimo. Back to the studio. Betty?
All right, Patrick, before I let you go, I just want to hear maybe a comment from you about this NASA being divided over the House leadership. Yesterday, we saw quite a number of leaders join from the coast coming out to say that they are disgruntled because they feel sidelined from the top leadership positions in Parliament.
Yes, that is a matter that is still controversial. It's not yet been settled because last week we saw the leader of majority, that is the principal in NASA, Moses Wetangula, when they had the press conference, we asked whether their list of nominees was ready. They said they'll not present the list until the parliamentary group is done. This week we saw that particular list was not provided last. The 3 nominees list was not provided. So this time around, we've seen there are media reports that that list was out, and there are indications that Moses Wetangula is the minority leader in the Senate, and in the National Assembly we have John Mbadi, who is the ODM chairperson. It appears from the look of things, those 2 leaders will retain their positions, but when it comes to their deputies, say the minority whip and their deputies, and the deputy minority leaders in both houses, these particular positions will not. They are still. They are not yet agreed, and it's also, this time around, NASA is a conglomerate of about 4 political parties, and each party wants to have a stake at least at the top parliamentary leadership. So that matter is yet to be settled. I've spoken to the National Assembly, to the clerk to the National Assembly, who told me that he is yet to receive the list of these other leaders, say the minority whip and their deputy, and also that the deputy minority leader in the National Assembly. So that list, the minority whip is yet to present. So it appears that list, whatever it is, after it was disclosed yesterday that by John Mbadi that there was a list to that effect, we saw NASA leadership come out and say that list should be disregarded because the party leadership and the parliamentary group had not ratified it. So I think it's something that the NASA leadership is looking into it and see how all parties in the coalition will be satisfied to have at least a slice of the cake when it comes to the parliamentary leadership in the Senate and National Assembly. Betty?
All right, Patrick Amimo, they're reporting from the Intercontinental, talking to us about a variety of issues, including